Welcome, Communication Man here. Have a very good video for you today. It's going to be a shorter one, but very powerful, and this can help prevent you from a lot of problems. So, people do judge incorrectly. And they do what? They hold it against you. So this is a thought I thought about that most people don't understand, and it's not something that's usually on most people's, I would say, you could say radar. And if you're going throughout your day, you need to think about how things can set you up for failure. And things can also protect you from failure. So subscribe now. I have a new video coming out every Wednesday, and I always have something to help protect you, to help add value to your life, and give you more power through communication and life hacks. But communication, man, that's not fair. That's not fair. People shouldn't judge, and I agree with you. It's not fair. So I have three main points and then a takeaway. All right, but my point for you is yes, that's true. It's not fair that people judge incorrectly, often impulsively and too fast. But what's your point? It's not fair, but so what? So if you don't like the truth, okay, change it. My friend's mom always said that. So if you don't like the truth, change it. Well, how do you change it? Okay, so here's how you can change it. Famous quote from Tom Selleck. It says, "Life isn't fair, but you can be." All right, so for the moral of the story, yes, life's not fair. People do judge extremely fast, often incorrectly. So you don't have to judge extremely fast or incorrectly. We're all going to judge extremely fast, but you can give yourself a little breaking time and just pause before you come to a real conclusion and satisfy your curiosity and say, well, maybe there's something that I'm biased, because we all are biased, and maybe there's something I need to explore a little bit more so I can at least attempt to understand where the other person's coming from, and maybe it's not always how it seems. It's not what it appears to be. All right, so that's kind of the moral disclaimer there. All right, but now I kind of want to get to the point of this video. Be attentive of how things appear to outsiders, okay? Because unfortunately, we do not live in a great society, especially right now, okay? Now, when I say great, I don't mean we have amazing advancements in technology and healthcare, and there's wonderful reasons to celebrate what we have in our world. But what I mean great by moral standards. Okay, now that could be interpreted and argued until infinity, basically. But most people would agree that there is some basic shame tactics that can be utilized. There can be women can get away with lying about incredible things, and there's very small repercussions for them. And also, men can do different things, especially through like corporate things, as far as cheating. And like look at Uber, how everybody knows they're just lying through their teeth when they say we're not a transportation company, we're simply an app development. But obviously they are in the transportation company in business, and they're just playing along with like legal loopholes to abuse people and take advantage of people. And there's so many other companies like that who've done that through history. So yes, life's not fair, okay? And I don't like it, you don't like it, and if you're a good person, you can change that, okay? So you can be a little bit part of the life, our society. Remember, we're all part of life. When you complain about society, you're whining about yourself. Change what you control. You and I can change me, so let's do that together. We can have a better society, okay? But the point is, we live in an imperfect society. So while we can control what we can control, if we can just by the law of probabilities understand that most people are not evolved very much in their spiritual life, their emotional life, their morals, most of them are doing it because there's a gun pointed to them by a police officer, and that's kind of the repercussion, or there's a social consequence, or they don't want to go to jail. Like, that's the big motivation why a lot of people don't do the bad things. I guarantee if you strip those things away, you'll see how fast society will shift. And it's a good thing that we at least understand that about human nature in our society, where we have protection. We have police there to protect innocent people, to attempt to protect, I should say, people from getting taken advantage of, okay? So this is one of those truths that it's not fun to swallow, but it's important to swallow the truth, then swallow some lie, and then you're ending up being taken advantage by people who understand you're a fool, okay? So we're all guilty until proven innocent, okay? So if it sounds nice, I love the idea that we're all innocent until proven guilty, and I'm happy that at least that's somewhat of a motto in the United States and some parts of the world. Now, everybody knows that's not true to a degree. Okay, now we want it to be, and I hope one day we get there as a society. That's why I created this video. At least the smart people who are a little bit more aware might consider, how can we make this more evident? How can we make this more of a thing? Okay, but it all starts with one person sharing what they learned with their children and helping their child grow, and they can hopefully be an echo chamber in a good way for the society we live in and improve society, okay? But it has to start first with us, okay? We only control us. So the reason I want to remind everybody out there, this is a public service announcement that we are all we're all guilty until proven innocent, is because in many situations, when a police officer gets to the scene of an accident or a scene of crime or something, they're going to try to look for the most logical signs, okay? And that's why when you watch movies and people get framed and we don't like it, well, when I was doing my social psychology class, they explained a lot of the reason people like those movies where like there's like a serial killer or something, and we're kind of drawn to that. It's not because we like the idea of someone getting hurt or murdered. What we really like is we're hoping that someone is smart enough to be able to see through basically, like if someone's being framed or set up, if real justice can be done. And if not, we're kind of sad and disappointed, but we can also learn from, wow, what did they do wrong? Okay, so this video is about that. So why I wanted to say be attentive of how things appear to outsiders. There's a lot of situations that if you, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a commercial that went around a couple years ago, and every now and then it gets passed around Facebook again, and it's a really good commercial. And it shows this guy like with his daughter and her friends listening to music in a car, and they stop at like some little quickie mart. It looks kind of like a liquor store, but just some quickie mart. And they're dressed in scantily clothing, but still not too insane, because they are, you can tell, like underage high school girls. And the girl comes to the father through the window, "Oh, Dad, I need some money." So he's handed her the money, and this police officer, shows up behind the car with their dash cam, and it looks like obviously he's doing something nefarious, right? Like he's paying her for prostitution, or it just looks horrible. And the joke in the video is don't judge too quickly, but it's also not simply a joke. There's also truth to that, right? And they have a couple other funny situations and scenarios that happen in that commercial. But the point is, yes, we should not judge too fast, okay? But unfortunately, we don't live in a world of shoulds. We live in a world of, reality. So people should eat healthy, right? We shouldn't eat fast food all the time. But more people eat fast food than healthy, right? More people are dying because of preventable diseases. Why? Because of instinct. Because it takes more discipline and willpower to control your eating habits and to eat foods that don't taste as good. And they might taste, good to some people, but in general, the reason fast food sells good is because it's like super high in fat, salt, things that our animal nature just loves, but maybe not necessarily great for us, okay? So the reason I'm telling you that is you're going to have situations where you're going to be walking, you're going to be doing something, and you have to think, how is this going to look if something happened, okay? And I thought about this because this week I saw, it was really kind of crazy, but it was interesting to me as I'm waiting at a stoplight. It was a really long crosswalk because there was a school zone and the high school was getting out. And it was kind of similar to that commercial, actually, but this was a little different. I saw this guy. He was just walking, kind of minding his own business, and you can tell, like, he just had this like little food bag in his hand. So he's probably like, he had some headphones on, probably gonna go to his apartment or something. And as he's doing it, like, these high school girls come up to him and they're dressed in like really athletic clothing, so maybe they're doing sports, I don't know. But like a bunch of them kept asking him for change. I think they wanted to go buy a drink. They didn't have any money on them or something. So that's why I was thinking maybe it's like an after school sports program. And one of the girls, like, she kept like smiling at him, like leaning towards him, and he wasn't paying attention because he was walking fast. And she kind of like gets in front of him, and you could see there's a police officer in an SUV sitting kind of like in the corner, like, and he pulls up, and she kind of leans into him, and it doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. Now, what she was trying to do is like kind of get his attention, and she's kind of yelling at him, and he's ignoring her. And I think, he didn't really want to give her money, but from the police perspective, it looked kind of weird, and it's hard to explain because you weren't there. But I'm trying to do my best to interpret this and explain it. But what's fascinating is the police officers, just both of them came out and their hands were on their gun. They didn't pull it out, but their hands were there. And so I don't know if it was a taser or a gun because I couldn't tell. It was a little too far away. But I'm just, watching this because I have a really long, the school was like doing the flasher thing. So it's like really long wait, basically. The bus had a little stop sign out, so I wasn't moving anywhere. So I had a few minutes to watch, basically. And I'm like, whoa, this got serious really fast. And I don't think the police officer saw what I saw, that the guy was kind of minding his own business. But very quickly, it escalated. The girl, she gets scared. She kind of screams. She starts shouting, and I can't, tell what she's saying, but you can see the look of panic on her face. And then the guy, he looks kind of stunned. And the police tell him something, and I don't think he heard them because he had his headphones on. So then one of them actually pulls out a gun, and I'm like, what is going on? And the guy's hands go up, they go behind his head, and they start handcuffing him. And you just see them arguing, and so I'm too curious at this point. I pretend to get gas. Maybe it's terrible, but I was very fascinated, what the heck is going on? And so I just more from a curiosity standpoint. So I roll down the window. I'm kind of at one of the pumps pretending I'm going to pump gas. And well, I mean, who knows? I might have gotten gas. I don't know. I just wanted to listen. That was more important to me. I wanted to see what's going to happen. And I hear the dialogue going on, and this guy, you can tell, doesn't have very good social skills. Not like he's a bad guy, he just doesn't have good people skills. So you could just feel it. And they're asking questions were you approaching that girl? Did she come to you first? And I can tell they didn't see the whole situation. They must have just kind of been slowly approaching, and she looked really aggressive. She was leaning in too much. It didn't look right. And he's like, I don't know her. I don't give a F about her. And I don't care. What the hell? I'm just trying to get home. And because he was getting really aggressive, he started to look guilty. Even though he was I knew, I could just tell by his face, he was in the beginning was just trying to go home. He had no agenda. But he did kind of have that creeper look, even though I don't think he was a creeper. He just had a disheveled. He just didn't look right. Okay, not from a outside point of view. Now maybe there's nothing wrong with him. I'm just telling you, it's unfortunate, but we live in a society where this kind of stuff happens. And he kept getting more angry, and he's sweating because it's a hot temperature where we live. And the other police officer pulls out his gun. He's like, but look, just put your hand out, because they only had one hand kind of. And then they put him to the ground, his head's on the concrete. It's super hot. It's he's kind of balding, so it's not a good situation. And I just see them screaming at him, yelling at him, and he's yelling back instead of being calm and rational. And he should have stayed calm, kind of chilled out. Let the police do what they do. They could have asked the girl, hey, what are you doing? I just want a soda or whatever. And because he went from 0 to 100, it just blew up. And eventually I just okay, I need to go. I had an appointment to leave to. But I was kind of getting the feeling that it was dying down, but he was still in handcuffs. So a logical person could say, well, maybe he matched the appearance of someone, some offender or something or whatever. Maybe there's a warrant or something. Yeah, maybe. But I don't think so. I honestly think it just looked very bad from an outsider point of view in that couple seconds, because the girl broke away from the group, and her body language was kind of unusual. She was leaning in, even though she's younger. Her sports bra thing was kind of down in his face. It just didn't look right. But I think she was just kind of careless, and he wasn't paying attention, and she was really kind of being annoying, really wanting money, I guess. And I don't know why, because I don't live in a poor area, but this just happened to play out. And I thought about it. I'm like, what a weird situation to be in. So, all right, story time over. My point is, it's very hard to prove your innocence. Okay, it's much better if you can try to do something where it keeps you looking normal. Okay, keeps you looking better. And in that guy's situation, maybe paying a little more attention to surroundings, just politely declining, just, walking a little faster, and kind of being more respectful when someone's asking something. Don't get too excited, because it just made him look guilty. I could even tell by the way he was talking. So my takeaway for you in this video is, the best way to solve a problem is to not be the problem. Okay, that guy could have solved his own problem. Maybe take a little different route. Maybe cross the road. There's another way. The other side had no people. Yeah, you can say that's inconvenient. I'm telling you, sometimes it's better to inconvenient yourself than to unfortunately and quite possibly unfairly end up in handcuffs for something you didn't do. And somehow that could escalate, and maybe there's something else that could happen by accident. He gets really angry and the police officer, maybe he moves his arm and the cop says, oh, you tried to attack me, and now it's like an assault, and like somehow this could be a felony or, attempted felony or misdemeanor, whatever. It's like all because he just wanted to go home in peace. But you have to have that awareness that we live in a society, I want to say, just horrible sometimes. And unfortunately, it is true that life's not fair, but we can make it fair individually, all right? But so if you hear someone, accusing someone of something that sounds really juicy and your instincts want to just go, attack them, careful with that. Just remember this video and think, well, maybe I should shut my mouth. I wasn't there. I don't have all the facts. Maybe I should learn a little more. And that's the thing, like all the tabloid media you hear, all these very extreme left, extreme right, it's childish, okay? They're trying to turn you into just get your attention so you click on it so they get a little ad revenue. Don't be their monkey in the circus, okay? Just detach from that, okay? Don't give in so well. We all need to understand where everyone else is coming and have some balance. We don't need to just go insane always on the far left or far right. We need to learn how to balance everyone's needs, okay? And we all have a lot of needs and important things we need to discuss, but we need to learn balance, okay? So my point for you is be careful of the situations you put yourself in. Think about how they could look. Be careful about the things you subscribe to online, the comments you make, the things you like, all right? Because unfortunately, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on with analytics and tracking, and I have a feeling that 10, 12, 30, 40 years as the robots get smarter, the software gets more advanced, the stuff that kind of like we think is horrible and ethically wrong, it's somehow probably going to get ignored and overridden, and they're going to, with all the Facebook posts, with all the Google Maps, they track all your location, there's likely going to be some grading system for people. Now, I think it's horrible. I hope there's enough of us to get angry and stop it, okay, and try to, stop it. But my point is, I know it already exists from the marketing world, and I had a sneak preview from a company I worked at that had, they paid, it was like $70,000 a year, really high amount, and we could see all sorts of things on people that you couldn't see. You had to pay for this. But they had contracts with Facebook, with certain companies. I don't know if they were like intermediaries of them, but I remember it was so scary the day I typed in my name. And I was shocked. They're like, yeah, his religious beliefs is likely this, his, like his spending patterns are like this, and all the banks are selling all your information. And that's why, you wonder why they give you free or really low price. They sell that for marketing information. So they know your location, they know where you're going, how much you're spending, and they're creating databases on people, and they don't want you to know about, okay? But I've been in these rooms, I've seen them. There's the huge servers, they're black, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is real. You can go research this. There's no conspiracy. It's like it's out in the open, but they're quiet about it, and they don't want to advertise it. But so what's kind of amazing is people are becoming the product, basically. So you think you don't pay something and you get it free, like your Google or something. Well, I would gladly pay $10 a month or $15 a month to have them not sell my information. Okay, I'd much rather have my privacy. I don't care. I would pay $100 a month. Okay, if I could have my privacy and not have them, rely on advertisers to provide the solutions. Okay, but unfortunately, that's just not how things are right now. So my takeaway from this is there was a really, really good candidate at this company I was working for. And this is a couple years ago, not that long ago though, okay? And so it's probably even got more advanced. But they were going to hire him. He was the perfect person for the role that we went through, a lot of people through. And the reason they didn't is he didn't even know this, and we don't even disclose this because we don't really want people knowing everything. But part of that marketing company, we had this thing, it was linked to our HR, where we could also they have like web crawlers, and like they have like the databases. We can see there's a lot of things that they post on social media and stuff that's saved. Literally, it's like screenshotted, and it'll be posted. So even if you deleted it, it may not actually be deleted. So he posted an off-color joke, and it wasn't even that terrible. I don't think it was that crazy. And if he had known about it, he probably wouldn't have been able to contest it. But they weren't going to tell him. They're like, yeah, well, he's going to be in a somewhat of a high position, and we don't want to take the risk on him. and he had limited work experience. He was trying to get his foot really in the door, and this would have been the perfect segue for him. And he was unfairly fired. Basically, he never got the job because of this, and he didn't know why. They just sent him a letter saying, "Thank you for applying. You were not the candidate we chose." They did a very generic answer. So I started to see this on the other side, and I'm thinking, wow, because that was when I was getting I had a minor in human resources, so I had to do like an internship for that. And so I was seeing like how the hiring process worked for like these big companies, and I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get in trouble for that, but it was a big company. Okay, it's a big bank. And so the point is, what's going on is, even if he's not really that person, and you can change. Maybe you said something in college, but that was years ago. You changed. You've grown. Well, you're guilty until proven innocent, okay? And a lot of people, they're not even going to really listen to you and take your case. So I love you. I'm just telling you, I thought this was a really fascinating idea, and I wanted to help you. Be careful what you're posting out there. Be careful what you're researching. And there's also government agencies, and this isn't conspiracy stuff. This is just stuff you should be aware of, okay? That they're trying to pressure like Facebook and YouTube when they like to try to get like the information on what people are posting and try to look for bad guys. And so some of it's good. Some of it's good to catch bad guys like putting weird comments about nasty things. But some of it, people are saying it sarcastically and they don't really mean it, but they could be getting their name in some database somewhere. So my point is, I know that sounds a little out there, okay? But a lot of things sound out there until it comes out. And then you go, oh my goodness, really? Wow. Should have been more careful. So I'm just saying, be more careful, okay? Think about real life, the situations you put yourself in. How's this going to look? Am I protecting myself? Am I protecting my future? Okay, I don't want to put myself in a bad situation. So number 4, the best way to solve a problem is to not be the problem. That's the takeaway. All right, remember that. Love you. For those of you that watch my videos, I leave every video with a conversation starter question. Why? Because cool questions lead to gratifying conversations, right? Ask better questions, you're going to have better conversations. And a lot of people ask boring questions, and their relationships and the people they talk to all the time just kind of get boring answers, and that leads to boring life. So make your life interesting. Ask better questions, okay? So my question for you is, do you have friends? Ask them, hey, have you ever been falsely accused of something? How did that make you feel? And I guarantee you, everybody has something, right? And I remember when I was, I was a kid, elementary school, there was, look, that's how long ago it was, and it still kind of bothers me. So think about that. There could be something, from a long time ago, and it'll still bother you. So this stuff is real, what I'm talking about, okay? But I'll just give you a quick story. When I was in elementary school, for PE class, we had like these balls you line up on, the kind of kickballs, but you line them up nicely on the rack, like against the wall. And if you didn't do it, you had to do like squats or push-ups. And then if you kept not doing it, had to go to the principal's office, because it was like it's kind of getting really annoying for the teacher. A lot of kids would play with the equipment, but then they wouldn't put it back. And so I remember I was playing with my friend, and they also had basketball racks. So me and my friends, we loved playing basketball. So I'd always grab a basketball, we'd go play. And then I remember specifically, I put it back, and then just to be a nice person, there was like 3 or 4 on the ground. And also I wanted to keep our basketball privileges. I didn't want to get taken away because they threatened us. I went and grabbed like 3 or 4 of the basketballs that were like kind of floating around that kids were too lazy to bring back, and I stacked them against the shelf nicely. Then I ran to class. And I came back, I got a note like from my teacher saying, hey, you had to go see the PE teacher. I'm like, what? So I go to see the PE teacher, and he's like really angry. He's this big, intimidating guy, and I don't know if he's Irish or Scottish, but his face would get super red when he's angry. And he starts just ripping into me. And he's like, I've told you not to do this and do that. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I put away my basketball. And he's like, no, the kid. And he said this girl's name, and I'm like, I already knew her. She's a liar. And she had a reputation for lying. She's just a conniving little brat, right? And but like, he didn't listen to me. He's just like, I'm just guilty already in his eyes. He's like, no, she said she saw you. You were just, you didn't, you were playing it, but you didn't put it away. And I went and I had a big attitude. I was, 12 or 11, I don't know, I was angry. And I was like, I went and grabbed like, 3 or 4 more. And he's like, I don't want to hear your excuses, And then I had to end up going to the principal's office. And she's like, well, you're going to apologize? I'm like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. She's like, you know what? That's the kind of attitude that gets you in trouble. You don't take responsibility. And I was like, oh, my goodness. So she's like, are you sorry? And like, she wouldn't let me go if I didn't say I was sorry. And I was like, I'm sorry that I'm here. And, then I got in more trouble. And then like, she ended up talking to my mom, and it just created this big problem. And finally, even though I knew I was innocent, just so I could go home because like they were pressuring me. You need to be accountable. Okay, fine. I'm sorry. And I just bit my lip. I really wanted to say I did it. Didn't do it. But I just wanted to go home at that point. And I was so angry and I was like infuriated. But you know what? I didn't have the power to change it, I guess. So what my point is, sometimes bad things happen to good people. And looking back on it, I was thinking maybe if I didn't go grab those extra basketballs or whatever, it wouldn't have looked like I was like playing with them. I don't know. My point is, try to put yourself in a better situation. Okay, so maybe if I really, actually what happened after that is every time I would finish, I would go to the coach. I would show him, look, got the ball, kind of sarcastically. He didn't like it, but got it. Look, see, I'm putting it here. I'm walking to class now. And I was a little punk about it, but you know what? He was a punk. So my point is, at least after that, I did kind of learn my lesson now that I think about it. So my question for you is, have you ever been falsely accused of something? And if it's too personal, don't share it. But if it's something that, wasn't that big of a deal, but, ticked you off, and how did it make you feel? Post it in the comments. I like getting to know my listeners, my customers, my videos, whatever you want to call it. You are my friends, okay? And subscribe. We got a new video coming out every Wednesday. And I love you. I hope you're having an awesome day. And remember, be more powerful. Protect yourself emotionally and physically.